Recently, I picked up a book, The Story of Art by E.H. Gombrich, or Gombrich, however you pronounce it, I'm not sure, but it's been a really good find. I have been struggling lately with depression, with anxiety, with happiness, with stress, with everything, as many of you are also struggling with. And I don't know, I guess I felt like reaching out to other people and trying to find a way to help spread the idea that it's going to be okay, and that if you put in the work, it's going to be okay. I don't want this to be a video about me telling you to give yourself grace or that you need to relax. Many people do give that advice, and while you should treat yourself kindly and with respect, giving yourself the love you deserve does not necessarily mean that you give yourself grace, or at least that is sort of that is a temporary thing, to give yourself grace, I believe. And there's more nuance to life than to just say something like you should give yourself grace. And so I mentioned that I have picked up this book, The Story of Art by E.H. Gombrich, because I thrifted it. I went thrifting and I picked up 3 books, one of which was that, and another one which was Leonardo da Vinci's paintings. It's just a book showing a bunch of his paintings. I don't even know that it's all of them, but there's a ton of them in there, and they're really cool, and they've been inspiring me, just going through, flipping through pages and seeing them. But more importantly, I've been reading this book, The Story of Art, and I'm only a few chapters in, but it's important to note that while I've only been reading maybe 20, 30 minutes a day at most, not even every day, I think there's something to be said about the way I'm consuming and my relationship to what I'm consuming and how it's changing me and how I would say it's benefiting me, and how I think it is one of the avenues in which I can take to help remedy a little bit of my depression and anxiety and stress and any issues I'm having with finding a quote-unquote balance with life. And so reading this book, I definitely spend more time staying focused and staying interested. That's purely a matter of actual interest. You have to sort of navigate what you're interested in by choosing to dive into something and then backing off if it's really not your thing. And I got lucky getting into this book. It was sort of a good timing where I'm not really good at finishing anything. I'm really good at quitting a lot of things throughout my life. And so getting into this book right now, just being able to keep picking it back up every couple of days, if that, has meant a lot to me. And so to start there, as I go on with this video, I feel like that's a good point, because many of us might think that we're only quitters, or that we're quitters all the time, and that might play a part in you struggling with mental health or with physical health or anything along those lines. And so I just wanted to remind you that sometimes it's okay to just pick up a book every now and then, because it takes a while to get through a book. It only takes 10 seconds to get through a short. There's nothing really impressive, about doom scrolling, and we all know that, and nobody tries to say that it is impressive, but you should think about if anything like that could possibly be contributing to your mental health. I feel like that's sort of an unspoken thing at this point, so we can move past that. But it's important to just keep that in mind, because a lot of people will brush past it, as it's designed to be a very subliminal thing for us as consumers. And anyways, part of the book states that for us to understand the beginning of art, we must see it not as something to view, but as something powerful to use. This was an interesting excerpt from one of the introductory chapter of the book, and it's been lingering in my head for a while. I've been reading on plenty past that, and it's still something that is sticking in my head. I didn't even need to write it down earlier to remember to talk about it, because it was kind of just almost what prompted the video in general. I already had some notes and whatnot, but I think I finally just thought on it a little bit too much. And anyways, I think it's funny that right now we appear to have a whole community of people that are totally against and protesting this usage and implementation and development of AI in art industry, in the entertainment and media industry, absolute disdain for this. And yet it is booming in the industry. and booming everywhere, unfortunately. It seems as though that is only going to play, a bigger and bigger role in people's mental health and our perception of reality and how we view each other and ourselves. Once again, it's another thing that if you're anything like me, then the way the world is going, the way the world is being projected onto our eyes and ears is a lot if you are taking a little too much of it in or not taking enough of the right energy in. And so I think that's where I'm at, where I'm at a point where I'm beginning to take the right energy in, and some of the right energy I've been finding and I've been creating in some instances. I'd like to say that reading this book is not only finding the right energy, but creating it to some degree. I think that it's inspiring me, and it's not only inspiring me to be a talking head, but it's inspiring me to draw a little bit more and to write a little bit more. I think that my girlfriend and I have a lot more conversations now since I picked this book up, and that's kind of an amazing thing. I think that it's adding a little bit of substance to my personality, and it's not that it's becoming my personality. I definitely, need to be careful that I'm not scraping the surface of things that I come across and just making it who I am and making that my identity, because that is definitely a dangerous place to go. I've been there before. Growing up, I kind of wanted to be an actor, and so naturally it's like that's what you do. You play a part, and you can get lost in that because you kind of get high on playing the part of different characters and stuff at different times that you need them, and I don't always build the character that I need. Actually, a book that I listened to, I don't know if any of you know who David Goggins is. He's a retired Navy SEAL, and he's written some books, and he's gone on his social media runs and whatnot, but gone on some real runs, if you know what's up. Anyways, he has a book called Unshackle Your Mind. David Goggins has a line where he says, if you can't find the courage to go on, if you can't find the strength to go forward, if you can't find the delusion to go forward, you gotta create the person that can. You gotta create the character that can do those things. And so, surprisingly, despite having an interest in arts and this idea of being objective and seeing things through as many lenses as possible, I haven't managed to muster up a character that has this strength and courage that, this hero in my mind has. This man, in my mind. And that's okay, because I do recognize that I'm still moving forward in a lot of good directions. Like I said, reading this book, getting into it, and feeling like I'm creating positive energy out of it. It feels like it's giving me some substance and some identity. It's not that I'm making it my identity, but it's adding to it. It's allowing me to absorb some knowledge. It's not that reading the book is absorbing knowledge. It's that I think choosing to be curious and naturally being a little bit curious and what the substance is a really good combination. And so that is something to look forward to if you struggle with things like I do. So if you need a little checklist of things that maybe you can try to help make yourself move a little bit quicker or a little bit more often, in healthy directions. It's like, what are you interested in? Are you interested in video games? I'm really interested in video games and how art and how, experiences can be depicted here. If you're interested in something like that, look into those things. Look into the lore of a video game. It's not like, maybe it feels, useless or like things don't feel worthwhile because it's a video game, or like whatever your passion or your interest in just is something that you perceive isn't interesting to other people. It's like you have to let go of that, because not even that, but there really is very interesting things beneath the surface that are connected to all of us, that we all can relate to, right? I made like a stupid video about the history of Indian tobacco in Red Dead Redemption 2. It's not that it was the history of the plant in the game, but I came across the plant in the game and learned that there was actually a ton of collectible and studyable plant species among so many other things in a massive game. And that just amazed me, because then I went down this rabbit hole of what Indian tobacco really was and what at least that form of it was. And I learn about indigenous cultures, and I learn about how their religious, sacred, medicinal tool, a spiritual accessory, was outlawed and used against them, and cigarettes were pushed among tribes and whatnot. Like, that was just this little tidbit of knowledge, just this small perspective that I gained because I was interested in these things and choosing to be a little bit more observant. Anyways, to continue on there, that seems to be enough right now. And I'm very fortunate and lucky to be able to say that. And so therefore, I feel it is important to reach out, because I believe there are people out there that need to talk about what it is that is either bothering them or what it is that inspires them. Maybe you're feeling bothered. Maybe you're feeling down. Maybe you just need to talk about what it is you love. Maybe that's what's bottled up. Maybe you don't get any of that out. A lot of us, we don't get any of the bad shit out. And we definitely don't always get the good shit out. The good stuff. Excuse my language. And so it's important. We can do that. You don't have to trauma dump in the comments if you don't want to. By all means, if you need to do something as serious as that, maybe you should seek some help, even if it's not professional. Okay, I don't know anything about when it's time. That's something that I'm still growing and learning, is how to talk to people, how to talk to professional people as well, right? That's important. So if you need that, you need to reach out and get that assistance. It can be hard to talk. It can be hard to find people and places to talk. Not everybody is going to have that, but like I said, I'm a fortunate person, and right now I have a space where I can reach out. I have other means as well, of course, so you don't have to worry about me, but I want to feel like we can relate to each other and we can connect to each other and we can share stories and passions with each other. I love talking about art and video games and whatnot, so if you love that as well, then stick along and we'll keep talking about that type of stuff. I try to be proactive about being in the comments and stuff. I haven't been posting a whole lot lately on my two channels, this and LifeisaPlanet, but when I have been posting, or when I am posting, or when people comment, I'm a small channel, so it's pretty easy to get back to people, and I really enjoy hearing what people have to say about arts and crafts that they've created or things that inspired them and whatnot. And man, that's what it's all about. Like, that's what we gotta stick together for and do all this for. Man, it's for each other. It's for ourselves, but for ourselves as in, serving other people out of the kindness and goodness of our hearts and sharing experiences and sharing the love. Like, that's what it's about, right? So I want to make a little video about that, and I hope that I can reach some people that, want to be able to share their stories and want to be able to talk about experiences they've been through and just things that help them get out of bed every day, things that help them move forward, right? Anyways, guys, I hope that this message finds you well. Let me know if there's anything that you guys specifically want to talk about. This is just kind of about, I guess this is just about mental health, and about depression, burning out, and just moving forward, finding something to help you move forward, right? So it's about the little things, and we know that. And so one little thing for me was this book that I picked up. I'm only a couple chapters in, but I'm already inspired. There's already a ton of information in there, learning about Egyptian cultures and, Greece and School of Athens and all this other stuff. And there's so much more to go, right? So, all right, guys, have a good one. Peace out.